Good afternoon. This is Wisdom from the Windows of Heaven. My name is Dr. Clyde Stewart. I'm a pastor here in San Bernardino. If you know anything about San Bernardino, it's called the most dangerous city in California. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a grandfather, I'm an uncle, I'm a community leader. So I just want to introduce myself to you. I want you to get to know who you're watching. I want you to know something about me so you can understand where I'm coming from and how I might be able to help you and give you inspiration and information and impartation from God that will help your life. Kids growing up without a family, without a father and mother intact. So that's what birthed Westside Christian Center Church. I wanted to teach parents, I wanted to teach families how to keep their household together, how moms and dads could enhance children's life. That's why I wrote the book, Life Without the Father, to let fathers particularly know how important they are to the family unit. So watch the program. Let me hear your comments. Let me hear your input. I want to give a shout out to family. I have family all throughout the United States. I want to say hi to my family in Las Vegas, my family in Northern California, Concord, Sacramento, Vallejo, and Monterey, and Pacific Grove. I have family in Oregon, family in Seattle, Washington, Houston, Texas, and New York. So those of you that don't know me, let me tell you some more about myself. I have a doctorate degree in ministry and family counseling. I have a bachelor's degree in sociology. And so I've also got a master's in public administration. So I'm well educated. But really, I want to use my life experiences to help you. As I alluded to earlier, that the city that I grew up in, most people didn't survive it. But by the grace of God, I was able to not only survive San Bernardino, but I'm thriving in San Bernardino. That's where God has called me to. I grew up there in those streets of San Bernardino. I went to elementary school in San Bernardino. I went to Ramon Elementary. It was on 7th Street in San Bernardino. I went to Alessandra Elementary, and then I went to our famous junior high school, Franklin Junior High School. It was known throughout the city. We were the best in sports. We weren't the best in academics, but we were the best in trouble. The police was always on our campus. There was always fights, always stabbings, always some trouble going on at the school. And that's what you were around. That's what you grew up. It was normal to you growing up as a young person. My experience in the community was I was always working. I knew that to get ahead in life, you had to work. I grew up with a single mom. It was 6 children in that house. And although it was crowded in the house, we had 3 bedrooms with 6 children and my mom, I was always alone. It seemed like that I was the only person I could call on, the only person I could talk to was me. That was my experience growing up. So I remember telling myself as we were eating oatmeal for dinner and birthdays would come and go and you didn't have a birthday cake, no presents, Christmas time, no Christmas tree. I remember telling myself, when I grow up, I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to make sure I'm a good father. So as I'm working there at the local Baseline liquor store, sweeping up the parking lot, emptying the trash, doing whatever I could, helping customers out with their bags, talking to the winos, whatever I could to make some money, that's what I did. When I got a little older, I started working at the Newbury Barber Shop right there on Baseline, sweeping up the floor for the barbers, going to get them lunch, emptying their trash can, answering the phone for them, um, making appointments and such. Right next door was Walker's Pool Hall. That's where the drug deals went down. That's where I learned how to gamble. I learned about the street life there at the local pool hall, the experiences that we had growing up in San Bernardino. In the early 70s, San Bernardino was well known for heroin addiction. Heroin was really bad in our city. There was prostitution. There was pimps. There was shootings going on. There was violence. But that was a daily occurrence in San Bernardino. Our little small city was infamously known recently for the terrorist attack. Out of all the cities in California, a terrorist attack took place in San Bernardino. So as I went through my elementary school, I had a paper route. I made $14 a week doing newspapers. I would share that money with my sisters and help them out with lunch money and such. So I was always working, always hustling, always trying to make a dollar. I remember reading my comic books, and I would send off to get flower seeds, and I would go throughout the neighborhood and sell those seeds to the women in the neighborhood and help them get their gardens together, and I made money doing that. I was always a businessman. I'm a businessman now. I just take care of God's business. So as I was going to Franklin Junior High School, and in those days you'd go to the ninth grade, and they start busing us in high school to a school across town. Now my experience with kids had only been with Hispanic and African American kids. But now here we are going to a school on the north side of town, and our first day of school, our buses were driving up. I saw all the residents lined up outside, And I thought to myself, oh, they're greeting us to the new school. But then they started throwing rocks at our bus. The grandparents. There was parents out there. There was children telling us to go away. They didn't want us in their neighborhood. One rock came through my window. The glass shattered. I had an afro full of glass, and then one of the girls took out her afro comb and helped get the glass out of my hair. Our school had riots. The police would come with tear gas. We were on the 11 o'clock news. That was my experience growing up in San Bernardino. From there, our regular high school was finally built, San Bernardino High School on East Street in downtown San Bernardino. And that's where I continued my high school education. I played sports. That was my main reason for going to high school: football, track, and wrestling. I was really good at wrestling. The wrestling coach tried to get me to come out, but people didn't come watch wrestling, so I went where the crowd was. While I was going to San Bernardino High School, I was applying to try to get a part-time job as a box boy at Safeway. And people kept telling me, they're not going to hire you over there. There's no black people in that part of town. But I kept going. I kept checking with the manager because he told me to keep checking with me. So one day I got that call, and he said, Clyde, we need you. Can you come to work? And of course I did. I walked a good 2 or 3 miles to get to Safeway from the west side of San Bernardino. I showed up in my crisp white shirt, my tie, my patent leather boots that I had bought with my own money, and I was ready to go to work. Now, I didn't know anything about bagging groceries, so one of the clerks was showing me how. And I'll never forget this experience. One of the customers came in, and he pointed to the clerk and told her, if he's still here tomorrow, I'm not going to shop at this store anymore. And he pointed his finger at me. And the clerk assured me, well, Clyde, don't worry about that. You can still work here. But she didn't have to tell me I was a hustler. I wanted that job, and that was not going to run me off. So I started going to San Bernardino Valley College. And I didn't take it seriously at first, but all of a sudden I just started going to class. Stopped hanging out at the student center and started taking school seriously. One summer, UC Riverside came out to try to recruit students for the 4-year college. We all got our transcripts, and we were encouraged to go show our transcripts. And one of the admission officers told me, hey, Clyde, you can come to UC Riverside. You'll be a junior. Only 2 years you can get your sociology degree. So I said, wow, okay, how am I going to afford to do that? And she let me know about all the financial aid. They were going to pay me to come get my degree. I couldn't turn that down. I was too smart. So I went to UC Riverside, 2 years, got my bachelor's degree, graduated in sociology, started working at the prison. I was a correctional officer. From there, I became a correctional counselor, worked at the California Youth Authority. I was a parole agent. And I noticed that all the young men that were in prison, at one point in time, the majority of them was in juvenile hall. They were in a group home. They were in some kind of camp. And now here they are in the penitentiary. So I got this idea that what could I do to reach these young men before they reach prison? And that's when I came up with the idea of Stewart's Home for Boys. We had 3 homes in San Bernardino on the west side, and we had these juvenile offenders, and we taught them life skills, taught them how to live. So we were famous with our 3 vans, driving these 18 boys around town, taking them to jobs, taking them to school, taking them to sporting events. I would take them to church with me. And a lot of the boys changed. A lot of the boys didn't go back to their old lifestyle. Some did. But I still get letters and phone calls today, Facebook, and texts about some of the boys that are doing well. Unfortunately, I do get some letters from boys that are in prison. One of my boys went to prison as a 17-year-old, and he's currently on death row. So here I am now, a pastor. I wrote this book, Life Without the Father, and it's still relevant. I wrote it a few years ago, but the information in there is to encourage fathers to stay with your family, stay with your children, be the man of your household, and guide them and lead them into success. It's hard for kids nowadays, especially without a man in their life, without a father in their life. Just like we need the Father God, your children need you. So I want to encourage you to watch the program. I'm going to come to you twice a day. It won't be a long program. It'll just be some encouragement. It'll be some scriptures. It'll be some life experiences on how you can be a better husband, a better father, a better wife, a better family unit. Now, I'm not going to leave you out, single people. Just because you're single, don't think that puts you at a deficit. When you're single, you can work on yourself. You can do what you want to do. You don't have to answer to anybody. So don't think your life isn't valuable just because you're not married yet. I know a lot of married people that wish that they weren't. One of my famous sayings are, it's better to be by yourself than to wish that you were. So married people, I call myself a marriage specialist. I'm a doctor of marriage. I want to help you. I want to enhance your life. I want to help you with your children. So I encourage you to watch this program, Wisdom from the Windows of Heaven. I'll be coming to you, and I'll keep it 100. I'll keep it real. I'll keep it however you need it to be. God's going to use me to speak to you. So please watch the program. Let me hear your comments. Let me hear your feedback. and I'll be coming back shortly to give you some teaching with wisdom from the windows of heaven.